My grilled cheese casserole is going to be delicious. A grilled cheese sandwich is an American classic, so I wanted to see if I could turn it into a casserole. After hours of research and racking my brain, I think that this is probably the best, easy way to make a grilled cheese casserole. Of course, you have to have bread. I'm using 6 slices and then 2 slices here. Not quite sure how much I'm gonna need of whole wheat bread. I know you could use white, that's the classic, but I'm trying to add a little bit more nutrients. Each slice was between 28 and 30 grams, so just normal everyday sandwich bread. I toasted the slices and then I cut them into little pieces. Here I have 2 tablespoons of butter, some sour cream. I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. I'm thinking a cup, but as I always say, it's always easier to add more than take some away. An egg to help bind everything together. 1 8-ounce block of Colby Jack divided in half. 4 ounces of smoked ham divided in half. A bit of salt. Half a teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper, and 1 onion soup mix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to melt this butter, and then I'm going to add the bread and then the sour cream. I went ahead and I added all 8 slices of bread along with 1 full cup, 240 grams of sour cream, which for me was a combination of low fat and fat free because it's what I had on hand. Now I'm going to add 2 large eggs. I'm toying with the idea of adding 2 more slices of bread, but we will see. I'm basically trying to get this to look like a dressing or stuffing. Moistened enough that I can spread it into the casserole dish. I actually did decide to add 2 extra pieces of bread. So now in this bowl I have 2 tablespoons of butter, 10 slices of bread, 1 cup, 240 grams of sour cream, and 2 large eggs. To which I am now going to add 2 tablespoons of milk. Just because I want this to be a little bit more moist because I'm going to add the onion soup mix. I added the onion soup mix, the spices, and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I realized it was a bit on the dry side, so I added 2 more tablespoons of milk for a total of 4 tablespoons or 1/4 cup of milk. I use skim because that's what I have on hand. Now it's time to start assembling my grilled cheese casserole. I know you're probably thinking, Parnell, what on earth are you doing? Like I said in the beginning of the video, I racked my brain for hours trying to figure out the best way to make a grilled cheese casserole, because if you use whole slices of bread, which you definitely could, it's going to be awkward to slice. And it's basically just going to be sandwiches inside of a casserole dish. And you're going to have gaps in between the slices of bread. I thought about doing something like a dressing where I would just mix the cheese in with bread that's cubed and mixed with sour cream or something like that. But then it doesn't have the layers that a sandwich normally would. So then I thought, hey, why don't I do a layer of a stuffing or dressing like mixture of bread and sour cream and things like that, and then do a layer of cheese, and I'm going to add some ham to make it a full meal, and then another layer of bread, and do it like that. That way the casserole itself would look like a sandwich. I know the sour cream might seem a bit odd, but I am a Southern cook, Southern and Argentine, and a lot of Southern cooks, they like to make grilled cheese with mayo, sometimes instead of butter. So instead of putting the butter on the outside of the sandwich, they'll put mayo. It sounds really weird, but the vegetable oil in the mayo has a higher smoke point than butter does. So it is actually less likely to burn. And it has a nice tang from the acidic component of the mayo, whether it be lemon juice or vinegar. And it adds a lot of flavor. So now I put down my first layer of the bread mixture. Now I'm doing 1 layer of cheese. I'm putting maybe 2 ounces down. And then I'm going to take my ham and I'm just going to lay it on top of the cheese like that. Nice thin slices. If your ham is not in thin slices, then I would definitely dice it, but as you can see, this ham is pretty thin, so I think I can get away with just putting it in the casserole like this. And even though I'm using sour cream instead of mayo, you definitely could use mayo. I had sour cream on hand, so that's what I'm using. I like to use it in a lot of my casseroles because it adds that tang and it adds moisture. Now for more cheese. And then I added a little bit of butter because a lot of people associate butter with grilled cheese, so it just seemed like a good idea. I think it'll be good to have butteriness along with the tang of the sour cream. If you have mayo and you want to use that, I think you definitely could. But like I said, I had sour cream on hand, and I think considering what a southern grilled cheese is, like I said, very often it has, I'm going to add a little more cheese here. Very often it has that tang. I think the sour cream is actually a good fit for both, not only it being a casserole, but also it being southern. Here, I am going to just scoop this on top, and I'm hoping that the bread mixture kind of forms a layer, and that the cheese forms a layer, and that it all works out like that. So a slight change in plans. I was going to do 3 layers of bread, but I realized I did not have enough bread mixture. So what I did is the bread that I had put on top of the ham, I took it off, and then I just put the rest of the cheese on top of the ham and then the bread mixture. I know I only used about 2 ounces of ham, but I didn't want to overwhelm this with the flavor of the smoked ham. I want it to be more about the bread and the cheese, because that's how grilled cheese usually is. My oven is preheating to 350. I'm going to bake this uncovered for, I'm guessing, 30 minutes, but I will let you know. I just pulled my grilled cheese casserole out of the oven. It was in at 350 uncovered for 45 minutes. I was really curious about this casserole, so I definitely wanted to dig in. When I tried my grilled cheese casserole, I realized that although it was definitely good, I think I can make it better in the future. While researching for this recipe, I saw some photos online of what literally looked like grilled cheese sandwiches placed into a casserole dish and then covered in cheese or tomato soup. I didn't think that those really looked like a casserole, especially with the individual sandwiches, so I wanted to do something kind of like a dressing or a stuffing. That when cut, it would look like it had the cross section of a grilled cheese sandwich. This casserole definitely had that, with the layer of bread on top and bottom with cheese and ham in the middle. The two bread layers were very much like a dressing or a stuffing. But honestly, they were a bit drier than I would have liked in spite of the sour cream and milk that I added. However, the bread layers were definitely more flavorful than the bread of a normal grilled cheese because of the spices and onion soup mix that I added. The cheese and smoked ham in the middle definitely added a lot of flavor, so like I said, this without a doubt tasted good. However, what really took it to the next level was dunking it in ketchup. I didn't have any tomato soup on hand, so the closest thing I could grab was ketchup. And just like the normal sandwich, a tomato-based product to dunk or dip the grilled cheese in was a delicious combination. Like I said, this was definitely good, but I started thinking maybe in the future I could do something like a stuffing or a dressing, and instead of using just sour cream to moisten the bread, I could use a combination of sour cream and tomato soup. The tomato soup would add not only flavor but also moisture, so the stuffing layer wouldn't be quite as dry. However, if the bread layer has more moisture, it might not get crispy on the top like this one did, so I might have to add Ritz cracker crumbs or something like that to give it the crispy top that you think of when you think of the slices of bread of a normal grilled cheese sandwich. Like I said, overall, this grilled cheese casserole was definitely delicious. I ate it very quickly, but I think it needs a bit of work. So if you see this again in the future, it will be different and it will be better. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.